Welcome to the Washington Defender Podcast. I'm your host, Pastor Brian Noble, CEO of Family Policy Institute of Washington. I'm here with Jason. Jason, introduce yourself.
Hello, Brian. Thank you for having me. My name is Jason Moon. I am a council member for the city of Mukilteo, father of two, and husband to a beautiful wife, and glad to be here.
So, and just in case people don't know exactly where that's at, just give them a description of where Mukilteo is.
Got it. So, from Seattle, you follow the coastline north about 20 miles, and it's basically the pathway to Whidbey Island. So if you want to go to Whidbey Island, you'll have to go through Mukilteo.
There we go.
And that ferry right there is on Mukilteo.
So now you're newly elected, or have you done this before?
So I got appointed in 2022.
Okay.
Then got elected last year. And so I have 2025, 26, 27, 3 more years left.
All right. And we're at the Roanoke Conference here in Ocean Shores. What brings you here, and what are you hoping to accomplish? What are you passionate about?
Gosh, so many things. So I'm a Democrat, but again, that's just what I prefer.
Right.
When it comes to values, I have values that go both ways.
Yeah.
My constituents, there's about 35-40% that prefer the Republican Party.
Right.
And as a more moderate conservative myself, I felt like I needed to have perspective. You know, where are we at as a state? Where are we at as a community? And for me, as a Christian, as someone that follows Jesus and loves Jesus, I feel like that's where we need to start is, as Christians, as humans, we need to get back to the basics. One example is, we've had a lot of natural disasters lately.
Right.
And, there are so many examples of, like with the hurricane, Helene, neighbors coming to each other's help. And it doesn't matter what your, stance is on a political issue.
Right.
It's coming together as a community at ground zero.
Right.
And so my passion is, how can we bring that sense of community here in Washington State, in my community? Because so many times when someone says, oh, who did you vote for? Oh, are you a Republican? Are you a Democrat? That automatically stereotypes you one way or the other.
Right.
And I want to get away from that and be like, no, let's support each other. Let's start from ground zero to where we're letting our guards down, because there are so many things that bring us together, yet we don't focus on those things.
Yeah, it's interesting because we put this label on and then we pretend like we're God and know everything about them.
Exactly.
But there's so many flavors. There's so many different aspects of our life. And what does that mean to you? I remember when I was running in the Republican Party a little bit, I would be one day called a rhino, and then I would be over here and I'd be called a white supremacist. I'm like, how do I go from one thing to the other? Because I'm neither of those things. I'm just a human being that loves Jesus and wants to do what's best for our neighbor, right? I mean, that's all it is. And so what are you seeing in your city? What are the things that are your primary concerns? Where are you at?
Yeah, so interestingly, last year I ran for state representative, and similar to you, I got called a dino, right? And as well as a communist. So, I got both sides.
Right. That means you're doing a good job, by the way, just so you know.
But, back to my city, I've seen so much divisiveness, and in my city, it's starting to grow a little bit, because Trump got inaugurated as president, and and Bob Ferguson's now our governor, and so you have these political tension, I guess, when it comes to council meetings. But so I just got appointed to be the vice president of our council, and so my goal is to leave those things out and to focus on the key issues that we have, and through the character of how we do it, then I think it should be natural to say, oh, well, you can lean a little bit more conservative and still do things. You can leave a little bit more liberal, but still do things. So what I want to do is bring people together so that we can have dialogue. We can have things that we can actually do to change, rather than build these walls with each other and not have dialogue.
So it sounds like you want people to be human, where they actually converse about things versus just yell at each other about it. I mean, that's powerful. The truth of bringing people together and say, let's brainstorm these things together. I've been married 28 years, I think, and I would say my wife and I are a lot alike, but there's way more things we're different about, right? And we have to converse about those. We have to talk about those. And we have to work through those things. And so are you seeing people kind of, do you see any shifting happening in people's hearts and minds? Or are we still just really polarized in the state of Washington?
Luckily in Mukilteo, I think we have, two good flavors, right? Mm-hmm. I don't think they're mixing yet, but I don't think they're fighting either.
Right.
And so what I want to do is just keep it that way and hopefully bridge those gaps that we have. Because what I hate is when people bring up politics. Right. And back to the first point, it's if you're a Democrat, you're automatically this way. If you're a Republican, you're automatically this way. But to your point, we have so many different flavors, and it's almost like you can't judge someone just because they voted a certain way or support a certain thing, because a person is so much more. There's so many more flavors within that person. Yeah.
And they're more robust than that. So it's kind of like when you sit down at a smorgasbord, just because I show up doesn't mean I like every entree that's at the smorgasbord, right? Or at the buffet or whatever. And it may mean I like this and I like that, and even with individuals, it's the same way. I somehow we've come into this place where it's all or nothing, right? Like, right. And it's like, wait, back up. There may be certain aspects that I like. And by the way, I have 4 kids and 3 grandkids. There's certain aspects I like, and there's certain other parts I just don't. And we have to learn how to get together anyways, right? Because we're family. And so I think that's true in all of our relationships. And how do we do that? So, well, I'm excited. Any closing remarks that you want to do? Or
so so my goal is to let's bring people together. Yeah. Once you get people together, then we can work on things that we agree upon, whether it's our education, public safety, infrastructure, whatever it might be. Then we can have conversations, because if we keep on dividing ourselves because of these stereotypes, we can't move forward.
Right. And if you know history at all, you understand that most great nations, when they collapse, is because they collapse from within, not from without.
Right.
And so we need to come together as Americans and say, let's dialogue, let's brainstorm, in Peacemakers, I was the CEO of Peacemaker Ministries. Let's give charitable judgments. And what that means is I'm going to think the best about you and ask questions to understand you first before I make a judgment, right? And so it's a charitable amount of grace where we're like, hey, I'm sure there's good intentions. Let's find out. Now, when you say, hey, I want to, or if I were to say, hey, I want to do evil or do something like this, then you're like, okay, now I get it. But for the most part, people don't want to do that.
Right.
They really have a different perspective, a different mountaintop experience, and they're looking down at the same scenarios. So, all right. Well, thanks for coming on, Jason. Let me do my closing part here. So if you're new with us at the Washington Defenders, we want to encourage you to download that app at the Google Play or Apple App Store, the Washington Defender app. And we are so excited here to be at Roanoke and Ocean Shores, hearing, like I said, everything from ultra-conservative to maybe more moderate conservative, and now, Democrat. So this is great. And so we get to hear and have this voice as we go. So go out there and defend and advance conservative values in the public square.